Good evening, and welcome to the City of Bloomfield Hills City Commission meeting for March 10th, 2026. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Second item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions, comments on any of the topics in the consent agenda?
The PS25 system is not in that, right? The simulcast agreement, that's separate, right?
That's separate, yeah. I did have one question, Leah.
Yep.
The third application for the chip seal is scheduled for the summer of 2026 for Trowbridge, is that correct?
Yes, but we're gonna be revisiting that once the weather breaks and we're sure the winter weather is over, and then we'll be meeting with the contractor and really firming that up.
Yeah. So we don't really know, like, because of the severe winter we had and the cold and everything?
Yeah, we don't know the full extent of all the areas that need to be
Right.
addressed.
Because once it thaws, it goes back down.
Yeah, so I was out there a couple weeks ago with Scott, but I know since then it has snowed again, so we want to wait until we know for sure the freeze thaw is over.
Okay.
They have put asphalt in many of the potholes.
Oh,
They were just doing that in the last week or so.
So,
Oh, great.
thank you.
Good. Okay, and then the Chesterfield Culvert Rehabilitation Project, out to bid for contractors. Are we gonna be doing that this year?
Yep, so that's out to bid, or we're collecting bids at the end of the month, and then we'll bring that before city commission. I don't know if we'll make it for next month, but definitely in May. And
Okay.
then, yeah, the deadline for the contractor is to have it all completed this calendar year.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, can I have a motion? Oops, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as noted in the packet?
Move to approve.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item on the agenda, this is a recognition of citizens in the audience. It's for individual comments. It's for items that are not on the agenda. So this is just, if we're talking about it on the agenda, we don't talk about it now, we'll talk about it when it's on the agenda. So this is just for individual comments, and it is limited to 3 minutes per person. Yes. I just need you to stand and tell us your name and address, please.
I'm Andy Hill. I live at 236 Quindy Lane in Bloomfield Township. I'm here on behalf of some parents that are concerned about the intersection at Hickory Grove and Losser for our kids to get to school safely for bikers and walkers. I don't see it on the agenda.
It is on the
It
agenda.
is. I saw.
The next item is Chief King, when he said he's gonna give an, area on Long Lake and Lasser. So,
Hickory Grove and Losser. That's why I'm asking.
It's kind of tied in.
it is gonna be a little bit tied in, the Hickory Grove is.
Thank you. We
We're gonna
welcome
have
your
to keep them,
comments then.
yeah, we're gonna have to keep them separate, but there's two issues that we have.
Sure this is happening.
No, you got it. Please don't jump ahead. Is there anybody else in the audience with comments? Okay, with that, we'll move on to the next agenda item that was introduced. The commission will hear from Chief King on traffic study of the area around Long Lake and Lasser roads. Chief King.
Good evening, Commission, Mayor, Commissioners. I apologize, we're having some IT difficulties. I do have a PowerPoint presentation. It's not the PowerPoint or the computer, it's the projector. We are currently making copies of the face sheets for each of you right now.
Okay.
Or would you prefer to table this until?
No, then we got residents here, we
Okay.
gotta be respectful of their time. Why don't you just read through it, even though it's not a PowerPoint? Is that okay with everybody? Okay, just so that we can do it. I do, just for the sake of conversation, there, as the gentleman just stated, there's the issue of the roundabout, which you got a study on, and then there's the issue of the children crossing in front of middle school, the Bloomfield Hills Middle School. So it is all Lasser Road when we're talking about this. And maybe one will help with the others, but there are two issues that we have to address. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. The traffic assessment that I conducted is not a formal traffic or engineering study. It's more of a assessment, a little bit broader, and some other things that would not actually go into a traffic engineering study, but I think it's important to assess it. It's actually 5 traffic concerns at 4 different areas along the road. The first being Lasser Road, that had 2 of the issues. First being speed, and second being pedestrian safety. The next location is Pine Ridge Drive, and that, near Lasser, that concerned traffic flow and congestion. Wynwood Drive and Lasser, traffic flow and congestion. And then finally, Long Lake Road, I'm sorry. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'll take a brief pause while we pass those out. Get to there. So as you flip through the first 4 pages, those are the areas in question as I described, Lasser, Pine Ridge, Woodwind, and Long Lake. They would have been better up on the screen.
That's okay, go ahead. We all
Next,
know where they are.
okay, next, I want to inform, I've been in public safety for over 31 years, and I have found that one of the more personal, contentious, and unpredictable issues encountered involves traffic safety and congestion. So much so, it's resulted in behavioral labels like road rage. Most importantly, it's one way or another, it affects us all each and every day, no matter what we do at any point of our lives. No amount of data I present here today will be able to eliminate any perceived or actual impacts on that traffic has on our lives. It just won't. There's no data I can provide to minimize or appease someone who's concerned for the safety of their children. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. Never have been able to, but I will give you the data as as accurate and concise as I can and comprehensive as I can. I want to be crystal clear. There's no single higher importance or focus that anything that is presented here tonight than the safety of our community, especially our children. Our priorities are in order: life safety, the pedestrian and school children crossing, and then the traffic safety of our entire community. Second was traffic flow and congestion. This involved school traffic, including busing and parent drop-off and pickup, school events, bus routes, as I said, student drop-off, residential areas and roadways associated with that, winter driving conditions and summer driving conditions, which will be different. Quality of life, we considered noise, the accelerating and braking of vehicular traffic in that area, specifically buses and school traffic. Environmental, sign congestion, traffic engineering concerns and future projects. Again, we're going into winter driving conditions, which ice and snow-covered roads greatly affect the elevations at both ends of Lasser Road, that being southbound south of Hickory Grove and northbound north of Long Lake. That included planned road projects in the area, all legal, financial, staffing, and enforcement concerns, and roadway maintenance. Lastly, stakeholder involvement and coordination. North Hills School and Administration and the Safety Department of Bloomfield Hills Schools, residential partners, both in Bloomfield Hills and Bloomfield Township. Bloomfield Township Police Department, who shares jurisdictional authority over that road, and then OCRC, or Oakland County Road Commission. Steps taken included direct observations, enforcement actions, traffic analysis, and stakeholder consultation and coordination. The direct observations were by myself and my staff, basically stationary officer observations. We monitored roadway traffic on all of Lasser, Woodwind, Pine Ridge, and Long Lake. We coordinated those observations with our normal calls for service, school crossings, weather, school events and closings, various observation times and locations along Lasser and Long Lake. We focused on school times, both drop-off and pickup, high traffic times, morning and afternoon rush hours. We conducted site inspections, including roadway evaluations, signage, placement and congestion, sight lines at intersections both southbound and northbound. Enforcement actions focused on primarily Lasser Road in front of the school. In November and December, we issued a total of 86 traffic citations, 49 for speed, 37 for other various violations. Non-enforcement data collection and analysis came from sources including Urban SDK, which was a traffic data system that presented us with a portion of November, December, and January for the roadways involved, and then our Clemis system. Urban SDK utilizes active GPS mapping systems. They collect data and break it down into 3 and 5 hour blocks, categorizing traffic times, both AM, PM, rush hour, and they allow for extreme incidents that include crashes, disabled vehicles, temporary road repairs, and closures. Our Clemis traffic crashes indicate that for the last 6 years on Lasser Road, we've taken 9 accidents, 9 crashes.
In the last year?
6 years. We've had 9 crashes. 2020 recorded 0 for both intersections. 2021, 1 at Wynwood, 0 at Pine Ridge. 2022, 2 at Wynwood, 1 at Pine Ridge. 2023, 2 at Woodwind, 0 at Pine Ridge. 2024, 0 at both intersections. 2025, 2 at Wynwood, 1 at Pine Ridge. And for the current year, 0 year-to-date at both intersections. They were all minor crashes. And then stakeholder involvement, again, I'll talk about that briefly. Meetings and discussions with the school administration, Bloomfield Township Police, OCRC, and then again, primarily phone calls with community members. Considerations taken into account. There are numerous factors that were included in my assessment and must be considered as part of this decision. Weather, December 2025 had multiple storms producing several heavy snow accumulations and ice events. The average snow accumulation was 5.4 inches for the month of December, more than double in prior years. Multiple weather-related road closures included major freeways like 96, 96, 75, 96, that result in secondary and third roadway impacts, basically local roads, transferring all that traffic up on some of these days. The assumption is that the summer data would be different. It wouldn't have those problems. Roadway conditions included extreme elevations, as I talked about, at north and south end of Lasser Road. Lasser speed limit north of Hickory Grove and south of Long Lake is currently 35 miles an hour. This 1 mile stretch is significantly lower at 25 miles an hour. Also, on some of the observation days and times where we study these events, there were area lane closures, specifically one on Long Lake between Lasser and Telegraph, another one where there was some railroad crossing service being conducted at Updike and Kensington. We saw an increase in traffic. School activities included the scheduled holiday and winter breaks, some weather closures of the school, and again, the assumption that traffic would be different in winter or in summertime, with the school closure for the summer break, no busing, weather-related conditions. We also met with the school administration, and they weighed in on their emergency operations, specifically the evacuation and reunification of the kids in that school. Their evacuation route is eastbound across Lasser into Pine Ridge subdivision. So their safety evacuation plan is to take all of those kids out through and relocate them in the Pine Ridge subdivision and collect them with buses.
Oh, because it's not a cut through. It's just a
Circle.
circle.
It's contained.
It's contained.
Primary in one ingress, one egress. So that is not for a shelter in place or a lockdown, something like that. That's for a building fire or something where they have to extricate those kids and evacuate that area. Okay. History, OCRC deferred responsibility for both directions of Lasser Road maintenance to Bloomfield Hills. This is one of my findings as I did some research. It was primarily over a speed limit issue. Us wanting to maintain that roadway at 25 and Oakland County road commission wanting it to be slightly higher, 35 or 40. The jurisdictional boundaries remain full in place. We are responsible legally for law enforcement on both sides, but our primary jurisdiction is northbound Lasser. Bloomfield Township is southbound Lasser. Traffic control, I also found out significant history about the traffic control devices that were there prior to the school's redevelopment that included a flashing signal and stop signs. Driver behavior, we mixed up our observations between marked cars and unmarked cars so we wouldn't impact the behavior. Everybody does behave a little bit better when they see the marked cars out there. So we wanted to try to impact that the least as possible. And again, I'm going to talk about a lot of data, but this data will not reduce the frustrations and perceived delays or traffic congestion that our community shares. So the first up is Lasser Road. Between Hickory Grove and Long Lake. The issues were speed and school safety. So we collected data over the full month of December. It was in part into November and part into January for 2026. This was not a system we currently purchase. It was done as a training, a testing and evaluation for a future budget request. The Lasser speed limit there is 25. Average daily vehicular traffic on Lasser, both northbound and southbound in front of the school, near Pine Ridge, totaled 8,880 vehicles. Doesn't break it down into northbound, southbound direction, and no separation for school travel. You have a lot of vehicles from on-site observations where the same vehicle is going north, turning into the school, looping, coming right back south in front of the school. It's a lot of parent drop-off and pickups. There's a lot of traffic right there. There's also traffic that doesn't go by the school. It comes off of Hickory Grove, goes into Woodwind, or it's coming up Lasser, and it doesn't go past the school. It goes into the subdivisions or the residential areas to the east. Average speed limit for the month of December was 31 miles an hour, 6 miles over the posted speed limit. The 85th percentile for the month of December was 36 miles an hour or 11 miles an hour over the speed limit. Typical traffic.
I'm sorry, where was it, 36?
That's the 85th percentile.
Oh, most were traveling at 36.
No, that's the 85th percentile. The average was 31.
31.
85th percentile was 36. Factors is, which 85th percentile is a factor that's established on determining roadway speed limits.
Do you know where do you time them? Do you time them near the turnaround in the school, or you turn them down the hill or up the hill?
Over the length of the road. The GPS, that system is actively utilizing GPS, which is from I'm not a technical expert on this, but they're basically your vehicle has its mapping system active to start up, and they're using some GPS information to get this information, both traffic flow, speed limit. That's where that data is coming from. Okay. The 95th percentile was 38 miles an hour. That was the 95th percentile. The system cuts off the top 5 and bottom 5%. For analytical purposes. We did find one speeding event that was 59 miles an hour. That was an emergency vehicle going to a life-threatening emergency. The data for both November and January are almost identical to that of the whole month of December. The average, so then we started looking at the average school-related pedestrian traffic. Our findings were it was inconsistent and nominal. Average school, we focused on Pine Ridge and Woodwind crossings. There were days where we saw no school-related crossings, obviously probably because of weather. Or
Winter, yeah.
which we acknowledge, but that's when the study was done. We acknowledge that summer's gonna be different. We saw a maximum of 12 children crossing. We saw the best average was 3 to 5 children crossing. That was both morning and afternoon. A majority of pedestrian and bike traffic was observed on the west sidewalk, either southwest of the school or north of the school. They were using the west side sidewalk to either come to the school and travel back and forth. We noticed that there were several times where cars would pull onto Pine Ridge. A child would exit and the parent would take off and the kid would cross the road. And that's a factor because, what we're finding out is a lot of parents don't want to wait in the long roundabout, the traffic cycle that they have in the school, on the school property. There's a certain, entry point and exit point in the morning and afternoon, and that's the same for the buses. But that's a school issue, not ours. So then we move over to Woodwind Drive. We started I'm sorry, does the commission have any questions on that information?
No, just-
We moved on to Woodwind Drive. There was a portion of Woodwind Drive from from Lasser over to Chestnut Circle on the east side. And we wanted to talk about traffic flow and congestion there. That roadway, and it would be on your map, it's the yellow portion in the slide. That's approximately 0.17 mile segment, and then, again, Chestnut Circle to Lasser. The roadway ends with a stop sign intersection visualized on that map, and it's a 25 mile an hour residential speed limit. We focused, utilizing this data on the time it took the average vehicle to travel from Chestnut on the east side and onto Lasser Road. It's to clear that roadway. And you'll see to the left of that map, there's a multicolored set of boxes.
Black and white.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
So in a color presentation, you'll see that they break that down into segments of 3 to 5 hours over a 24-hour period, Monday through Friday for the entire month. And they average out speed. So 1.0 represents free flow traffic. That means if a vehicle at 25 miles per hour tripped at traveling westbound on Woodwind Drive at Chestnut Circle on the east end, it would take them a free flow traffic with no traffic impediment or no issues, no braking. It would take them 1.0 is the number that would represent that, but it would take them approximately 25 seconds to traverse that area. Any questions? I know the data and the math. It took me several times to get it, but if you're just driving at 25 miles an hour with no cause to brake, and you are going out onto Lasser Road, it'll take you about 25 seconds on average to travel that, or I'm sorry, with no traffic, to travel that entire length of road for the month of December. Any questions? Okay. You'll see in that those colored boxes.
We don't have color.
We don't
Oh.
have to-
I apologize. There's a variety of boxes. Across the entire month of December, it took drivers approximately 17% longer to travel that length of roadway, or which comes out to 4.2 additional seconds longer to traverse that highlighted segment on Woodwind Drive,
When?
the entire month of December. They average it out for the entire month of December.
Okay.
And the problem with,
Took less than a minute, now it takes 4.
no, I'm sorry, it took 25 seconds to travel that at free flow traffic where there's no impediment. There's nothing stopping you. You were just at 25 miles an hour covering that 1.7 mile.
And now it takes
area.
4 minutes.
No, it takes 25 seconds normally. At 17% increase, it would take 29 and a half seconds. The maximum for the month, it had high periods of the month, was 44% or an additional 11 seconds, which would mean that you would be traveling that length of roadway, it would take you 36 total seconds at the highest point. Any questions on that? I know we're getting down into some data. The next portion of roadway we looked at was Pine Ridge Drive. We looked at Pine Ridge Drive from Pine Ridge Drive to Lasser Road. It's a shorter segment. It's approximately a 0.07 mile segment of that roadway. You can look, if it was color, it would be highlighted in the purple and the blue because it's a divided roadway around that island there. The roadway stops at a signed intersection visualized, 25-mile residential speed limit, and again, 1.0 would represent the free flow traffic time for that area. And if you did that, it'd take you approximately 11 seconds to travel that, to get out of that sub. Across the entire month of December, drivers took approximately 23% longer, an additional 3 seconds longer to travel that highlighted segment, which brings you about 13, 14 seconds. Maximum increased travel time noted in the chart was 69 seconds, or an additional 8 seconds. And that was targeted on Tuesdays between 4 and 7. It took you about 20 seconds to navigate that roadway.
Wait, you're saying 59 seconds, 20 seconds? You're throwing around a lot of numbers. I have sat there many times over a minute. So I don't, maybe this is an average.
It is an average, ma'am. They did blocks
Okay,
of.
so if it's, 2 in the morning or it's, I don't know whether an average is a good measure.
Okay.
In this case.
And they broke just.
I think you need the high and what the basic is.
I think that the other problem is that, I know this family that's had 3 accidents. Certain daughter 2 and a wife 1, and none were reported because, they were $3,000 fender benders and they didn't want to report it to the police. They live at 365 Pine Ridge.
Can I-
it's
can I
like,
make
I'm
a-
really worried about
Yeah.
this.
Can I
Okay.
make a recommendation? I appreciate, and if anybody in the audience, because this is for you, the residents, wants to hear some of these data, this is great. But look, in my thinking is, we all know there's a problem on that road. Okay?
We perceive
And-
one.
Now there is. And especially there's a problem on that road if Telegraph or Woodward is down because everybody cuts through Lasser. It's just a well-known fact. So can we get to the recommendations of
Okay.
what you recommend of, I understand you did a study and I appreciate it and you took the time and everything.
Makes a lot
But-
of sense too.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. So I hope you guys, everybody's okay with this, is that we talk about the recommendations. And if anybody wants, we can distribute the speeds and everything to it. But I think people want to know, what are we going to do to help
Absolutely, ma'am.
protect the speeding on that road, the Pine Ridge trying to get out.
And the numerous accidents
Yeah,
on Hickory Grove.
on Hickory
and
Grove
Lasser,
and Lasser.
correct.
So can we talk about that?
We didn't take the accidents from Hickory Grove and Lasser.
We're gonna cover that later when we talk about the roundabout today, so we're gonna get to that yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we will. Okay, go ahead.
Covering over the findings, I'll just go right to the recommendations. My first recommendation is that we establish a school zone for the North Hill School portion in front of Lasser. There's certain requirements that are needed for that, comes from the school. It's not going to reduce the speed limit because the speed limit's already at 25. It's going to provide signage, alerting drivers. There's some question as to what kind of signage we want to put up there, and there's some limitations by the motor vehicle code, and it's basically 1,000 feet from the edge of the school in both directions is the limit, and whether we want blinking signs, some kind of electrical source, if we just want standard metal signs, if we want something solar powered, those are all options that we can look into and work with Oakland County.
Would
or-
Bloomfield Township put them on that side of the road and we would put them on our side? And they would be, are
Bloomfield
we gonna
Town,
work with them?
we're gonna try. We're gonna continue trying.
If we can't, can we do things ourselves on their side of the road?
It's our roadway for, yeah, it's our roadway. So Bloomfield Township kind of, they're
They have
willing to work with
approve
us.
Whatever we put there?
No, they don't have to prove what we put.
I mean, we don't need their approval
No.
to put something on.
No, but
the side. Okay.
we want them to be partners in enforcement actions also, because they have the
Sure.
jurisdiction on the other side of the road. We
So,
wanna double that.
for history's sake, for the people who have lived here long enough and remember that was a high school, refresh my memory, who made the decision to put the traffic
Stop sign.
light up there? No, there was a traffic light at one point, wasn't you guys? There was a traffic light when they redid the school and everything. They used to have a traffic light so people could pull out. Who made that decision? Because it was taken down,
I don't know. I really don't know.
so it wasn't us.
No, it wasn't us.
But it's on our road.
Yeah, it was
It
on our
is,
road.
It is. Also, yeah, I'm not sure how long ago that was.
It was only, what, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe?
7.
Been there for 10 years, so it's at least, I mean,
10 years ago, it was still the
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
it was
yeah,
put there
yeah.
with the high school, I think.
With-
High school.
And the stop signs were at the athletic entrance of the high school.
Yeah, there was two of them,
Going
yeah.
each way, correct?
Those were there longer than the light, the traffic light. Those stop signs, there were two of them, it drove everybody crazy, but it slowed down traffic on.
We
It
put-
really helped break them.
Would we
Would
put
you
the
agree?
stop signs back out?
I think there has to be a formal engineering study to support that.
Well, we
They
already.
were there before,
They
though.
were there before, we should have an engineering study.
I think there's information that is associated with that I would feel very comfortable having that in front of the commission before a decision like that is made.
Did you
Jamie,
do that
wait
for
a
the next meeting?
Okay.
We have, Jamie, we own the road, it's up to us to do all this, but yet we don't know who put a traffic light up there, and we don't know who put the stop sign, or who took the stop signs down. If I'm a-
Been there for 30 years until. the
Who took
school-
it down?
Probably the school.
But it's our road, we own it.
So, okay, school, let's take a couple steps back. Leah's gonna jump in here. Leah's the rock star traffic engineer. You can't make a decision with this board to just to put up stop signs or put up other signs. You need to have warrants for those signs, otherwise you can't enforce them, or if you enforce them, they go away. Stop signs are great, but they also increase the speed in between the stops, because people stop and then oh, I gotta stop. If you ever see people through a parking lot with those little stop signs, you actually can increase speed. So if you wanna do this right, we can answer those, we can look back and look at those. I think the school board just said, hey, we're doing this because we don't have an entrance here. I mean, it wasn't gonna be a middle school for a minute, right? It was gonna be something else. I think the school during the demo said, this is what we're gonna do in your right of way. Okay, great, move on. I think Chief is right, engage in a study, give you the other factors, because up at Pine Ridge now, if cars are going faster because there's stop signs in between, that doesn't do any of this any good.
It helped before.
It really, it did.
Okay.
The problem was,
It broke the traffic. At least you could hop out while they stopped. You could
yeah,
jump out.
The other roads are far enough away from that, so you have to have warrants to put up a sign,
Even if it was there before.
even if it was there before, because before it might have been just squeaky wheel, let's put up a couple stop signs. We get this a lot from our communities. Why can't we just put a stop here? If there's no warrants for it, or it becomes a different issue, our job is to advise you what it's warranted, it's not warranted, and here's the requirements, and here's where these things can go. Then you guys can make that decision, or chief makes that decision ultimately, it's a traffic safety, but you cannot just go around. For example, you just can't make a street 25 miles an hour.
do you have someone who's like Bobby in your office?
That's Leah now.
I worked for William for years.
So Leah's like the top traffic engineer around here, so we'll let her handle that, but I just wanna jump in, because I've been dealing with this road for almost 30 years. Those stop signs were up, they were down, we permitted Bloomfield Township to build a safety packet, if you remember, and that's in your right of way and all these other things, there's signs associated with that as well. So, I'm with Chief, if you guys would like to see what amount of traffic calming or traffic enforcement regulations can happen on there, take this excellent information, give it to Leah, let Leah do the warrants. But if we come back and say it's not warranted, here's why, then we have to talk about that. Does that make sense? There's other warning signs and things that happen. She'll give you the whole range of options. But, I'm sorry, you just can't go. It used to be one there, so we need one now. It's just not
Okay.
making it sound worse.
Okay, that's fine, but we can take other precautionary measures, like school crossing, painting yellow.
Same category.
I guess I could speak to that. We could talk about possible crossing options, but you have to keep in mind, you need ADA accessible ramps on both sides of the roads. You have to have spaces for people to be able to wait to cross the road. So we do have to talk about doing some sidewalk work, or at least some landing areas on your side of the road to make that a safe crossing. We can give you options, whether that's striping, adding signs, working with the school to have crossing guards. You could do traffic signals, there's plenty of options, but you can't just paint a crosswalk there and put up stop signs.
And expect people,
Well,
all right,
what's interesting though is the kids going to school, they cross at all different places.
They're doing
I don't
that.
see any young person walking all the way along to the sidewalk. They come out of where they are and they come straight across. So I mean, human nature, right?
$100,000
Would you guys-
crossing, they don't. You see some Woodward, people don't walk up to the intersection, but there's at least a light, they'll cross.
But they're
Little
crossing,
Annie's the hotel all the time.
they're crossing at
On their
own
cell phone.
risk. By
Their
you
own risk.
marking it, you're saying this is a safe crossing for them. So
Just
we
make it
need to
safe.
make sure that it is a safe crossing for them.
It's-
If not, they're crossing at their own risk, and they're
Right.
taking on that themselves.
It's frightening even when you have the walkway. Take a look at the people crossing Adams Road, north of Woodward, it's.
So you don't
So-
wanna create an area that makes them feel like they're safe also, so you would wanna talk about what actual measures you can take.
You suggest we go back and get a study done and, or at least see what we have and figure out what you can do with it? Do we need to get together a contract and formulate something? We got time, we've already been a mess for 8 years, I mean, we can.
If I can, all of my recommendations are not to make the matter worse or to set the city up for any kind of legal or financial issue. With, you know, if I make a recommendation to do something that is then going to trigger the city to become ADA compliant or extension of a sidewalk or something, you know, a school crosswalk by law, it's argued a lot of between school districts and police departments, but if you do a school crosswalk, the police department is responsible for staffing it and making sure that there's a crossing guard there every day, that school's operation, paying for it, staffing them, doing the background, and that is a difficult process to do. Area agencies are struggling to find people to fill those. I'm not saying, but that's a consideration. When we start making these decisions, saying, all right, let's do this, it has that dirty water downstream or second and third.
Right, there are two distinct things. One's the crosswalk, one's something making it so people can enter and leave their subdivision without having to pay for the accident they cause. Because I know you're not getting a full report of how many accidents there are.
And sure, that, I just have the data that's reported to us.
Thank
I
God.
know that people are not reporting accidents all the time, but I can only go off of the confirmed reports. I've
So
had.
what does the school say about this? Are they willing to help at all? I guess I wanna know if,
You know.
I'd like to ask the people, the people who are here about this?
So we've been trying to create some positive change here for about 4 years between the township. I understand the intersection that we're talking about is really three parties. It's Bloomfield Township, it's Bloomfield Hills, it's Oakland County, so it's kind of a mess of a solution, right? I had reached out to North Hills principal and the superintendent. They kind of washed their hands of it because that's, you know, the intersection we're talking about is farther away from where they are. They did say that they'd be open to collaboration, but it really needs to be up to the city. And then the city said, I'm sorry, the township said, that's really the city's jurisdiction because that's their portion of their road. And then we also heard that that's really Oakland County. So everybody's kind of just pushing it aside. But at the end of the day, we built this beautiful school that $200 million bond for these kids to go to school, but they can't get there safely. Like, it just seems like that was not thought of in the larger plan. And we want our kids to get there safely, be able to walk and bike. It's such a beautiful city. Can't we finish that last 1% of this beautiful building that they're able to go to and arrive safely? And a big part of that traffic that we're seeing in those areas is because there's very little opportunity for our kids to walk there safely. We've got one of our students here who walks on a daily basis to school, and we want to make sure that he gets there safely. If we had more options and more safety in that fashion, then maybe more kids would be encouraged to bike and walk and ride their scooters, get a little more fresh air in this society of isolation that we're living in. I think it would behoove both Bloomfield Township and Bloomfield Hills to be more open to not only creating a state-of-the-art facility, but one that kids can actually arrive to safely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that feedback. I will say I'm a bit disappointed in the school's reaction, to be honest with you.
I was shocked that the principal sent me away, superintendent. That was a change in the superintendent at the time, but both of them didn't seem open to this conversation. It's been very frustrating over the past 4 years. We've gotten some painted lines done by Danny Walsh in 2023. We've gotten recently some signs that were put up by the township on the eastbound side on Hickory Grove that are maybe 100 feet away from the intersection to say, hey, there's going to be some people crossing. And then on the southbound side of Gloucester towards the school, same people. It said, you know, the little yellow walking guy. Nothing.
Crosswalk.
People don't see it though because it's so far away. And so, you know, we see all these different things in these communities. Could we do, you know, no turn on red there? That could be a quick solution. Or, things like that, like what are the short-term solutions that we could look at while these important long-term things are happening, and it might take 4 months, but some things in the short term that we can
So-
ensure Jeremiah gets to school
Yeah.
safely, you know?
Evaluating this and making an assessment that doesn't create additional issues, the first thing of my recommendation was a school zone. A school zone, marking in a school zone. It's not gonna reduce the speed limit any, I'm sorry, it's 25. But what it's going to do is it's gonna, again, raise that alert level to the traffic. And then how we sign that is also an issue. Do we want something, flashers, and I'll defer to my traffic engineers, you know, the flashers are typically more successful and more effective. Something with a flasher, which equates to either solar powered or an electrical line being run out there. The signage, I've met with the school administration and their safety director, and I didn't get a full answer either. I'm gonna try. I even asked, you know, if we address an issue for the pedestrian, the children crossing at Pine Ridge, it doesn't do anything for the kids at Woodwind. Because there's no connection from Woodwind over to Pine Ridge, unless you're traversing somebody's backyard or through the yards. And you can't put stop signs at Woodwind. You can't. There's the elevation, the hill, there's no way. You're gonna have cars sliding back down at that stop sign. So, there's some limitations there. I've asked about busing specifically for the Woodwind sub, because it's such a large sub that reaches all the way over to, Woodward, through Manorwood. Is that an option? I've also asked for specific numbers of kids that are residing, because it's Bloomfield Hills, sorry, on Woodwind, Manorwood, Renton Court. I'm trying to find out, what are we talking about? Are we talking about 4 kids? Are we talking about 10 kids? What are we trying, and I'm continue to work with that. I continue to try to get that
Oh,
information.
the school knows that. I'm telling you right now, I used to be a
I know your
PTO
address,
president.
correct?
That is my sub, that's my sub, I live on Woodwind Drive, and, so my son is affected, and there are probably half a dozen kids in our neighborhood that do go to North Hills, and then there are a number of other children who go to Cranbrook and Country Day and schools, like that. And that intersection, I mean, there are many issues at the intersection, the brush that's there makes it very hard to see, there's a lot of overgrowth of the trees right there. I mean, I definitely think a flashing light, I mean, just this morning, my elementary school student was at the bus stop when a Suburban went through the bus stop's sign.
Oh, no.
So it happens, I would say at least once a week, a car does blow past the bus driver's sign.
There's a significant assumption that the motoring public obeys all the traffic control devices also. I mean, they just don't. They just don't.
Well, I think that they
That's what we're here
authorize,
for.
so we talked about the cameras issuing tickets, and they did authorize them for school buses and for construction zones. So, not that that'll help.
That won't apply in this
You
scenario.
go there at 7:40 in the morning when the 5 kids are crossing the street. I mean, I can be all the way to Pine Ridge, and if I see them, no one stops for them. And then I stop, and finally, the people on the southbound side stop. It's that way all the time.
To be
It's just
honest,
incredible.
if it's 1 kid or 5 kids, it doesn't matter. You gotta have 1
It's
kid
just-
safely crossing the road. They gotta be able to do it, so. Okay, do I have any other comments?
Is there, maybe this would help, is there any sidewalk ability on that left side for Pine Ridge that would then lead to a crosswalk to the school? Because then you got Pine Ridge, and then you have the entrance to the school. I wonder if, instead of them crossing over Losser with the elevated traffic, they could just stay on the east side and then be able to cross safely over to the school. I don't know if building a sidewalk is in Bloomfield Hills plan, but I mean, if that could be a solution that could keep any walkers or bikers out of Pine Ridge on that.
So I hate to say,
Yeah.
one doesn't come without the other.
Sure, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the issue is any kind of a crosswalk, correct me if I'm wrong, a crosswalk or a school crossing brings with it connectivity.
Sure.
And then ADA accessible, you have to have both. You have to have connectivity and ADA compliant
Well,
sidewalks.
my suggestion on this, and I'd love to hear the commission's, but I think we should have authorize Leah to do a study do a complete study of everything and come back with your recommendations of what we should be doing.
Traffic engineering
Yes,
study.
yes, the traffic engineering study. I do think, personally, I think we should designate it as a school zone. It is a school zone.
Right.
So, I mean.
I thought that was automatic, personally.
I think that's the lowest hanging fruit, and
Yeah,
we're gonna get
yeah,
that
it's
done.
like,
but-
is commission, I need,
I'm sorry, it's not.
I
Are
need-
the
I need a-
speeding
I-
tickets double if you're in a school zone?
That's the deterrent factor is gonna be a double fine.
yep,
And, I've already asked for a letter from the superintendent, which starts the process. That superintendent has to ask for it, I believe. That's what I was told by CRC.
You need the
Yeah,
parents
that's your
to support
road.
with that.
Okay.
So I can do it anyway.
that's, thank you, that's nice. And then get us, pricing on the different options and what it would be, you know, if
I can
Leah, can you
give
get that for us too?
Yep.
And anticipated length of time for all this? This study?
Yeah, so can I ask, do you want Hickory Grove and Lasser included? The intersection up there?
Well, that's another topic tonight, right? The Hickory Grove intersection?
I would recommend that she looks at all of it.
I do too, that's what I would say.
All inextricably connected.
Yes.
Yes,
And I would ask too that we do at least keep our eyes open and consider a safety path on the east side. Because, to your point, I mean, a lot of this doesn't work unless you funnel the pedestrian traffic to a crosswalk point. You don't wanna have 4 or 5 crosswalks, just to get to the other side so they can walk down the sidewalk. So I think that has to be part of the study as well.
yep, good idea.
So, I guess, can I confirm, I've heard 4 different concerns. One being pedestrian safety to the school, one being speeding along Lasser Road, one being pulling out of Linwood
And Pine Ridge,
and Pine Ridge, and then the intersection itself of Hickory Grove and Lasser. So kind of 4 separate concerns.
yeah,
Can I add, but also the exit at arrival and dismissal from the school. The driveway to the school historically had a light or a stop sign when it was the high school, but right now, there's, like if you think about arrival time and all the parents get funneled in and then funneled out of the school and, turning right and left in there, but that's also a pedestrian or a cyclist issue. My son and I rode our bikes today, and you've got cars turning right into the school, cars turning left out of the school, cars turning left into the school. There's not a light, a crosswalk, a guard, or anything at that particular place.
you missed, we did talk about
Oh,
that
sorry.
earlier.
I'm sorry.
Cause we don't, we asked the question, we're like, who put the light up and who took it down? And we don't know, so we're gonna research that
Okay,
as well.
sorry.
Leah, you need to give, and the stop signs.
Yeah.
We think when,
Double stop sign.
we're not really sure,
Double-
but we,
Going both
yeah, there
ways.
was stop sign.
No, we
We
had
think the
2
school
I
took
had
it
2
down
stop
when they
signs going
moved
northbound.
the high school.
No, we just had
I don't
that.
know, so we will make
One
sure
at
we
the
take a
bottom
look
of the
at
hill.
that,
That
that's
may
an
be the
issue.
way to get rid of
Yeah.
the issue is double stop
Okay.
sign.
Does anybody else have any other comments from anybody? Okay, so do you have your,
I'll just share, even though I'm a runner, my kids use that intersection at Lasser and Hickory Grove, and I am someone who complains about people who, I almost just got hit. I was driving the other day, and I didn't see pedestrians, and I had to slam on my brakes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, from my perspective, I'm the one that's always like complaining about people doing this, and here I am doing this, and it's because the way that the cars go so far into the intersection, I couldn't see the pedestrians coming
Oh.
through. So I started going, and then I saw them starting to cross. So I guess I would just say anywhere where it's possible to put lights. I know it's a more expensive option, but the crosswalk itself doesn't like train your brain as a driver to look for people. It's when there's the walking signal or some sort of like light that gives you that, it just trains you a little bit more. We historically don't have a lot of walkers in Bloomfield Hills, and now we're starting to see more as we have these, sidewalks. And so I think from even a driver perspective, having more signals to send to the brain to say, sure you're looking for pedestrians, because you know, I've been on both sides of it now, and I'm like, oh shoot. I wish I was more aware of looking for pedestrians, and so anyways, if there's any option to put lights, actual crosswalk lights, I think that's so much better than just the painted lines.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. Leah, you have, I'm sorry.
I will say the same thing, with the lights. I've seen two children almost get hit right at that intersection, like, almost get hit by cars. So much so that my son could be a walker and drive now because it's not safe. And we're just 3 houses from the corner of Lasser and Mountain, or Lasser and, Hickory Grove. So we're right there, but, I mean, I watch kids walk every day, and I'm like, while I'm driving, right, because I'm driving at the exact same time that these kids are crossing, I'm just like praying that nobody gets hit.
How many people in this room, if they don't honk, they wish they had honked, or they did honk, going northbound on Lasser, making a left-hand turn for westbound Hickory Grove, and the other person went through the red light. In fact, usually 2 people.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And I honk every time, and I'm so mad, and it's, the whole thing is incredible. There's just, the lights there, everything's wrong at that place. They just don't have it.
My husband and I are both cyclists, and we use the sidewalks because we don't find the roads, the shoulders exceptionally bike-friendly in this town, so we ride our bikes on the sidewalks. But we see it at that same intersection, the like kind of rolling right-hand turn through a red light, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like the maybe southbound Lasser on Hickory Grove, like a rolling red turn. I mean, it happens almost all the time.
So maybe the no right turn on red at Hickory Grove
No, and everyone going eastbound at
would be
Hickory-
helpful.
Yeah, everyone going eastbound at Hickory Grove, west of Lasser Road, goes through the light, and they go through the passing lane on the left side, because there's no real left turn lane, and they come through like a rocket. I'm shocked there aren't more accidents.
Well, there were quite a few, but.
There are.
Okay,
Okay.
anything else? Leah, you have your marching orders, chief?
I'm all set.
Okay, okay.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
report.
everybody. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for coming
Thank
in.
you for coming. We appreciate that. Okay, next item on the agenda, the commission will consider the city code amendment to the tree and woodland ordinance. Dave, you wanna take this?
Yes, Mayor. I think the first one is, the tree and woodlands ordinance. That's a city code that was reviewed by the planning commission. It was approved at the planning commission with some adjustments, actually. And, probably go over those adjustments. I think, essentially, everything was accepted, except for the, DBH, which is the diameter breast height, of the replacement trees, and the replacement trees throughout the ordinance. So, there was discussion that, there was a carve-out for, instead of, allowing 3-inch replacement trees, for, deciduous species, or for old-growth deciduous species, that be changed to 5-inch.
Yes.
And there's also discussion about each deciduous tree replacement shall have a minimum DBH of 3 inches. That was changed to 5 inches. So everything throughout this proposed ordinance was changed from 3 to 5 inches.
So can I just give you, everybody, a, exact on this? So on your clean copy, if you're looking at it, it's page 2, at the very top. The first item there is 50% of the DBH of each said regulated trees removed. Each deciduous replacement tree shall have a minimum DBH of, it says 3 right there, and the planning commission said 5 inches.
I see, can you show me where you're looking?
Yeah, right. Are you on the woodland, the tree one? Let's see, which one are you on?
Landscaping plant material?
No, this was the wrong, there's another one in there, that's the tree ordinance.
I have the landscape open space.
No,
They took out the exception.
is the,
Copy this one?
section 22 dash, yes,
Okay,
right here.
thank you.
Yes.
So you're page 2.
Page 2, the very top.
22-26, A1 and A2.
Yep. So where you see 3 up here, 3 inches here?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they changed that to 5 inches. And then,
Did it used to be 5? Was that the?
no, it's always been 3.
This one was 3 and they changed it to 5.
Yeah,
Well, this is the
that's what
clean
the law
copy.
said, it was always 3, right? It was always 3,
Always 3.
yeah.
I think.
So this is the original copy, the clean copy?
This is a clean, yeah, it
Clean-
should say, oh,
The clean copy
clean
is
copy
the copy that is before you to approve. That's the clean copy that's already been adjusted, other than the changing 3-inch DVH to 5-inch everywhere, and also removing the last line that carves out that old growth deciduous tree species must be 3 inches. Actually, just by carving that out or removing that line, it requires all trees to be 5 inches.
right. So can I just, for
5
everybody-
inches, like the trunk has to be 5
Yes,
inches in
in
diameter.
diameter,
Yeah.
yes,
At your
And they
breast
measure-
height.
Yes.
yes, yep,
And that's because everyone was putting in little spindly things?
yes.
Okay.
They call them stick trees. Was what they called them. So in that particular one, item number 2 at the top of the page there, it's instead of changing, you're just removing where it says, DBS of 5 inches. And then it says, it reads now, comma, except for preferred old growth. We would just say DBH of 5 inches, period, and just delete that this last sentence right here of 3 inches. So there'd be a period
Oh,
right there.
okay.
So that was the only change, but
But it was also the 20, remember, Brad, in the meeting, you said you'd be happy with 25%? And now I'm seeing 50%. So in the minutes read, 25 or 50%, and you clearly said you'd be fine with 25%. I said I would clearly
It
be
is
fine with
25%.
25%.
it is
It
20.
is
But in this,
25%.
it's 50, I thought.
Well, I think that was changed to 25. I think that went back and forth. It was 25.
Oh, so this is 25.
Yeah, it
25
is
under.
25%. Yeah.
For the old growth, it's 25.
Yeah.
Right.
For any deciduous, it's 50%. And for the regulated non-landmark trees. So if it's not a landmark tree, but it's a regulated tree, then you have to replace 50% of the DBH. If it's a landmark tree, then you have to replace all of the DBH. And then whatever trees
So
are,
if anyone has to take down a maple or a walnut, they have to replace something in the same size?
they would have to replace the DBH, if it depends, if it's a,
Because that'd be impossible.
a landmark
to replace
tree,
a
then you have to replace
mature
100%
walnut.
of
They
it.
grow very slow.
Well, if it's a landmark, so a landmark tree would be defined as a certain size per tree. So let's say it's 24 inches. You could replace that 24 inches with maybe several 5-inch trees until you get to 24 inches.
No, but that just seems,
and 25% of 24 inches is
5 trees.
6 inches, so,
so you'd have to put in 6 walnut trees to
5.
no, well,
5?
It'd be 5 for, you cut down.
no, you would only have to put in 1 walnut tree, because it's only 25% of the total DBH. The rest of the trees could be whatever deciduous tree you want.
Interesting, okay. It's hard to follow that, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, it is.
Well, the 25% did reduce it. It makes it a little bit awkward if it's just one tree that's removed. You know, in this case, 25% of a walnut tree that's 24 inches would be 6 inches. So you have to replace 6 inches technically with a walnut, but,
And then you can, anything else.
right.
One of the things that I think, I failed to mention at the meeting, and I apologize, but I recall this from the meeting, that one of the reasons that last line with the 3 inches was, I think, the reason why you would put that in there is to give people incentive to replace it with an old growth type tree, because there was some discussion that you can replace things with, maybe the 25%, but then you can replace, maybe replace the rest with
Arborvitae's, which is
maple
what they're all
trees or
doing.
Yeah,
But I think some incentive to bring it down to 3 inches. If they're 3 inches, then you don't have to have or you know, if you use the old growth tree, then you can go with 3 inches. So I think that's, what was your purpose?
And
Yeah, that was, it was really meant to make it easier to, on the resident to, put in at least one of the trees would be an old growth tree, because whether it's 3 inches or 5 inches, we're talking about trees that are gonna be around for theoretically 100, 150 years. So whether they start at 3 inches or 5 inches is
So
really
why
not-
are we taking away the incentive to add more old growth deciduous trees?
I failed to mention that in the meeting, but I don't think that was understood.
But I don't think, I don't know, Commissioner Buckley, they were very much like, you're moving into this community, we have a lot of trees, you know what you have. This isn't trees that you're tearing down to build around the house, these are trees that you already have out there that you just decide to cut down. You know, you're just like, I'm just cutting this down. So their comment was,
Wanted to make it harder.
yeah, they wanted to
You
make
have
it,
to replace, to spend more to replace it, so.
yeah, they were
To
pretty,
disincentivize them from cutting down,
Mhm.
I think, was the goal.
that was pretty unanimous.
We know the goal, but I just
Yeah.
find this
Okay.
confusing.
I do have.
We've noodled this, so I'm good.
Yeah,
I do have one other thing. On the list of the preferred old growth, Kentucky coffee tree is on there, and I don't know, that's been carried through all these meetings. I think I probably brought it up initially, but it's not mentioned anywhere else in the plant materials ordinance. So it's kind of an inconsistency. I don't have a problem removing it because it's kind of a rare species.
Yeah, it's not something you see, so you're suggesting we take it
Just
off?
take it
Yeah.
out.
I agree.
I do too, I didn't even know what it was.
I thought it was
That-
just coffee.
I agree.
I agree with
The
that.
pods actually can be roasted and they have a coffee flavor.
Ah, good to know. Okay, any other recommendations for changes? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
Move.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we got that one done. All right, that was a long ordinance review. Next item on the agenda, the commission will consider the zoning amendment to the landscape screening plant materials ordinance. Now it's that. Okay, again, no changes on this one. The, planning commission set, well, I mean, yeah, there were no changes on this one that was recommended by the planning commission. They said this was fine. Any comments?
So all of these were reviewed and approved by the planning commission?
Yes.
before.
Yes, all of them were.
What was discussed last month?
Okay, it was also discussed an hour ago, correct?
Yes, just an hour ago, yes.
Great.
And there were no comments, right, Amy?
Correct.
I got that right?
Were there any comments on the prior?
Just the change of the 3 to 5.
The ones that they commented, the
Yeah.
5.
Okay, thank you.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next item on the agenda, the commission will consider poverty exemption guidelines and application. Amy, you want to take this one?
Sure, so every year, the city commission adopts the poverty exemption resolution guideline and application. It's required to allow for a resident to have this vehicle, should they meet the criteria. City Attorney Mark Roberts has reviewed this. This is recommended by the city assessor. If you have any questions, I'm sure Mark or I can answer them.
Move to approve.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's been approved. Next item on the commission, on the agenda is the commission will consider the urban planner services agreement. Dave, you wanna give some background on this one?
Mayor, I created a memorandum for the commission to outline how a planner would work with the planning commission to provide the information they need to do their study consistent with the moratorium. And I was able to collect 2 proposals. I attempted to collect 4, and in a short time, I was only able to collect 2. The memo really speaks for itself. If you've we've had a chance to read it, and I believe that all the qualifications for both the proposals, or the folks that are gonna be doing these, that potentially be doing this consultant work for us are qualified, and in my opinion, either of these could work for the state.
When I compared the two proposals and the two companies, I really felt like Giffords Webster was more appropriate for this particular one because they know us. And we're under a short timeline. They already know our master plan, all our laws, our personality, our history, development patterns. Spalding D. Decker doesn't know us at all. They would have a learning curve, and I'm just afraid that they might miss some important details in that short period of time, because I think this is one where you really have to understand what our city is, who we are, what we want, what our priorities are. I also liked that we already have a contract with Giffords Webster. The contract that Spalding D. Decker provided was very long and detailed, not particularly favorable to us, and it even contained a lot of provisions that I didn't think applied to this situation. We know Jill, we know she's well qualified. Giffords is proposing 5 meetings, Spalding Decker is proposing 3 meetings. Giffords' price is $15,700 versus $20,000 for Spalding Decker. Giffords has an 8 to 10 week period. Spalding has just 8 weeks. We have an optional 12 to 14 weeks under Giffords for that price. I also felt like the proposal seemed more objective. I think this is a case where it needs to be objective. I felt like the Spalding Decker was putting a lot of emphasis on the commercial property people, speaking a lot to them, seeking their input more so than a balanced review. It seemed like Giffords, of course, was going to meet more with our internal group. So that's my feeling. I just feel like it's very important to have the right people doing the study, because the information that we get, that is critical. So that's my feeling.
Commissioner Baxter?
I agree totally with Commissioner Buckley. The only comment I had is I didn't see anything that would indicate that the study would extend down the Woodward corridor. That would include the Congregational Church or the Little Daddy's property. Just want to make sure that if we're going to do this, that's kind of encompassed in this study.
I would agree.
Good point.
I would
Mark?
like the study to be expanded.
That's a good
Can
point.
we ask our council whether we're allowed to do that?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Mark?
Yes, I mean, the initial moratorium was, the city center as defined in the master plan and the area. But if there's a desire to increase that size, bearing in mind that that's just the moratorium, that's not necessarily the area that's subject to the study.
Good point.
If there's a desire to increase the study area, we can always increase the moratorium area as well if that's a desire.
They don't have to match. Good point.
They don't necessarily have to match.
Is that okay with everybody?
I'm sorry. Yes, I just want to make sure we do it. Can we include that in this even though it's not part of the moratorium? If we can or can't?
If you
If we
want
can't,
if you want the moratorium amended, just let me know and I will amend the moratorium and bring it to you next month.
I think the important issue is expanding the contract with whomever we pick to study outside of the city center that's in the moratorium.
I think the desire is to have this concept studied, whatever that area turns out to be.
Well, the area is important. We need it beyond
Right, but
what's in the moratorium.
the study is gonna determine a lot about what the area encompasses too. I mean, initially I was asked to prepare a moratorium for this area, which I did. As the study progresses, we may get more information that may expand that.
But can we be clear in the contract with them that we would like information outside the city center that's stated in the moratorium?
I think that's
Yes,
part of,
we absolutely.
part of the study, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
How would you write it, Alice? How would you want us to write it, really? I
Well,
know
I
that you're
think-
gonna do it right.
I don't know if it has to be in the motion, but I mean, there
well,
was an there's
Judging by,
sort of an engagement letter, there's a
We-
land use study, maybe they could just revise that. If we're going with Giffords, I mean, that was the other one.
I can make it happen.
It would be more
Okay.
Should we-
complicated
should we-
with Spalding.
should we add it to this, so it's
So-
formalized?
I think it should be a
So-
formal.
I want Walter to field it, Walter to field
Okay.
it.
Yeah, we could change the scope in the proposal, and,
Expand the scope, yeah.
we'll change the scope, expand the scope based upon what the city commission requests. We'll make sure it's done.
Okay, Commissioner Ackerman, what are your thoughts on the two?
I don't think we got a choice.
Well,
Would
I-
you have a preference of one over the other?
Oh, yeah, I'm in absolute agreement with the other commissioners.
I believe Spalding is more of an engineering firm, like an HRC. I agree, I think Giffords is more required, more qualified between the two. I was surprised we didn't go with McKenna, or did you try and ask them and they were busy, they didn't get back to you?
I tried OHM, I tried another company that was our old planner. I tried another company, and
Because McKenna's doing Birmingham, that's exactly what they do, they do urban planning only, so I just thought,
I don't know if I'm missing it in the bid, but in our discussions of individual commission, we never had a talk as a group, unless we're on. A couple of us have considered, I certainly am one, that we should have some kind of hearing, really active hearing, as we do this, as early as possible, from the community itself.
isn't that part of the study?
It is.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's the most important single thing.
Yeah, the market study, because that's what adds the 12 to 14, the additional time on is the market study.
I hope
was
the market
thinking
study's
that
50 people walking in here and talking about what they think we should be doing. That's-
Public surveys, open house, and final planning analysis, public surveys and open house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, can I have a motion then to, for the Giffords Webster and to, expand
The perimeter of the study.
perimeter of the study?
So moved.
Just quickly, isn't that, would that affect the price or what we're approving? Do we need a not to exceed?
I don't believe it will, but
Okay.
I am speaking, I'm not positive.
Do you want me to make a motion
Yes,
that's more
please.
restrictive? I move that we select Giffords Webster, led by Joe Bond, as the city's planning consultant to provide professional planning analyses, conduct meetings and public surveys, prepare reports and data, and do all other things as needed to assist the planning commission in evaluating alternatives with respect to the city center land use study, including an expanded scope, to be included in the proposal, and, all pursuant to Giffords and Webster's proposal for planning services, city center land use study, and for a cost not to exceed $10,500 for everything, contained in the expanded proposal.
Expanded perimeter, the region that they
Expanded
study, not just
peri-
expanding the
perimeter
study,
study.
but,
And an additional $5,200 if the city chooses the optional market analysis.
Oh, you did. I thought I would choose the 15,700 for Giffords Webster.
That's the total.
That's a total.
That's the total.
to
Yeah.
include an
But see,
expanded
it-
perimeter
Yes.
study.
Yeah, that part included it, and then the other one was optional, but we've also added that in, so
Okay.
it's the total of,
So can we be clear, we're not just expanding the proposal, we're expanding the perimeter and the actual area
Yes.
that they will be studying. Thank you.
Do you have that, Amy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can I have a motion?
that was it.
That was, a second, sorry. No, could you please repeat that?
No.
Great job.
Yeah. Can I have a second?
Second that?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we got approved that. Dave, can you just, make sure that you, I know you're going out, or Amy. So can you make sure you call, Walt and let him know that it's been approved and we can get moving on this?
Will do.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is the commission will consider the landscape open space ordinance review summary. Okay, Dave?
Mayor, the city commission and planning commission over several years' time has consistently been concerned with stormwater management. And as the city experiences larger homes being built, the city, most of the lots are full, and the sort of practice that's occurring now is homes, the older homes are being removed, and much larger homes are being built. Not only larger homes, but walkways and hardscapes. And
Pickleball
everybody-
courts.
Yes, and it's what I think the commission has been concerned about, and the planning commission has been concerned about, is how does that impact the neighbors down the street, the next door neighbors? How is the water flowing from one lot to another? How is it flowing through from public or from private to public and back to private property? And so, our engineers have taken some steps. They've studied this twice, and they're requiring now some more mitigating factors or mitigation efforts as these new homes are being built. But I also asked the planners to look at this, and back in 2024, they reviewed over a 4-year period what our ordinance says, and is that ordinance really fulfilling what I think the intention is? And that intention really is having a large amount of open space or water, or space that water can go through, green space, pervious surfaces, not impervious surfaces. Is our ordinance, fulfilling that objective? And have kind of come to the conclusion, the way the ordinance is written, with the exceptions, that may not be true. So I've talked about this with I wanted Jamie to talk about it for a few minutes, if you wouldn't mind. But I'm just, I put this information together for you to look at, and ultimately, I think that maybe the planning commission should look at this.
So I thought the planning commission initiated ordinances and it initiated ordinance review as well. So have you discussed this? Is this something in the meeting prior that you all talked about and approved?
I did provide all this information, both studies, to the planning chair 5 months ago, and I had not heard anything back. And I think it's an important issue because we're getting more and more applications for new homes, and so I thought at least I could bring it to the attention of the city commission, and if you want to consider it, putting it back to the planning commission for review, it may be a good idea. But I thought it important that the one person that really is responsible for dealing with our stormwater management, or is not the one person, but the two, Jamie and Leah, that he maybe, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah.
On this approach?
So thanks, and this isn't really, we've talked about this on numerous occasions. In fact, before the city commission a few years ago, we talked a little bit about resolving the stormwater management issues as it relates to the grading plans. If you remember, we talked about a prescriptive part of the ordinance where it says if you do this, then this, if this, then this. We kind of pushed that away a little bit. We didn't want to be that prescriptive, give planning commission some opportunity to weigh in on certain things. We've seen leaving trees up in lieu of stormwater management at the planning commission. We've talked about taking down trees, to add, for stormwater management purposes. So there is some flexibility in there. But the landscape open space requirement, being that it was set up mostly for, the original thoughts, in my opinion, were about green space and maintaining the trees and not having a community with 5-foot lot lines, right? And these monstrosities of homes, in keeping with the character that is Bloomfield Hills. Rolling hills, pasture, nice lawns, a lot of trees. But the reality is, it also has a tremendous amount to do with stormwater management. And over the years, we've talked about it, and one of the recommendations we made was, if you violate the stormwater, the highest level, if you request a variance off the open space, it should be an automatic trigger for the most amount of stormwater management. But the nuance, and I think what Dave is really focused on here, is there's so many exceptions that a house in Bloomfield Hills, all of a sudden, if you start applying, it's difficult. The planners look at it, I sit there going, okay, so 4-foot part of the walk is okay, but the 6 foot is, you know, so there's so many exemptions in setup on there that it becomes weird, it becomes difficult to manage, but it also generates more impervious surfaces, which add to more runoff. So my suggestion is, if we can, one, to simplify the ordinance, I think it was one of Dave's goals as well, but two, our stormwater system was largely built out in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. The presentation today is SEMCOG regarding flooding, and I use actually your flood insurance study, shows the floodplains. Completed in 84, using rain data from 76 and population data from the 60s to come up with flows, right? So the system's not failing. The system is just what it was, and it's doing great, but it's only this big, right? And so I think what we, and this kind of goes to this ordinance a little bit too, this resolution and opposing those the House bills. The systems aren't built for that. So I've often said, I believe in a single family residential district, it should be great. You have a home. We're not gonna make you do anything above and beyond for a normal size home, but you start adding sport courts, big patios, and multiple walkways, motor courts, et cetera. We automatically require additional stormwater management now to kind of offset that. But man, it would be really good just to be able to not have to go through all those, because the exemptions, in my opinion, are causing the problems. Because if you, oh, I have a driveway, oh, I need a second driveway, or my those exemptions actually start creating more of the problems because we're not dealing with them. So if we gave a more simplified ordinance, and I'm not here to say what that number should be today, but I think from a stormwater management perspective, from a tree perspective, from a quality of life and character, I think this makes this a lot simpler. It helps us manage when the stormwater happens, that we're not just one patio at a time hitting our capacity, right? As opposed to doing it uniform and whatnot. So, because every house that we see is bigger, more accessory uses, more hard surface. Then they try to get around it with gravel versus, and I'm like, it looks like looks like a driveway, acts like a driveway. Let's count it as a driveway. I think that's just the smartest way to proceed. So, from an engineering perspective, I love the idea, and I'd like to weigh in on the percentages at some point.
We stress tested it before we brought it to you. And so the stress test really was, we took 4 years of, not every application, but we chose, or we had the planners choose a few examples out of every planning commission year, and then show what the percentage would be if you just took the exemptions away. And so that's really what that study shows. And then it also, there's a component of the paperwork that you have, or the memorandum may have, the attachments that shows what some other cities do. So I think if, I guess what we're saying is if the city commission would consider maybe having the planning commission look at this, I think there's some value in actually by removing those exemptions. I think you're gonna be, the ordinance is actually gonna do what I think the intention is.
Do you think the planning commission has time for this right now with everything
Yeah,
else
with the
going on?
moratorium study and all that, I mean,
They'll find time.
Too much at once?
I think it has to.
I think we've gotta give
This,
the
yeah,
rest.
we can give it to them, but this is something that, this is not gonna be the priority while the planning together, but we should do it. I mean, we should recommend it.
Well,
You give them a certain amount of time, but.
No, I mean, after the moratorium is resolved, maybe, then
Yeah.
look at this.
Well, I think if you give the direction, then the consultants and the planners and administration then know this is, that you support this, then we can continue to monitor these and have more examples as they come up for you and go, does it make sense to keep, that this is a priority, not the highest priority, but this is something you support, then we can start thinking about it and start working on organizing it from our perspective, so.
Without giving away any thoughts, has the city had any payment for a lack of water management in the last 15 years?
Say,
Have they made any payments because of a lack of water management in any way? And
we've
there are
been,
lawsuits or other.
we've been litigated against multiple times in the last 20 years for drainage. Drainage is the number one thing that I deal with
And
on
yes, we
a
have.
day-to-day
Yes,
basis.
I mean, it's my way of saying that, it's my way of saying, we have to do this. How do you want to
So
do it?
just add it.
Mayor?
Are you saying you wanna refer it to the planning commission now?
Yeah,
No,
they'll get to it.
I mean, how much, I mean, I don't, it's not
Give them 180 days or something.
fair
Yeah.
to, well, to start, to work on this after the city center issue is resolved.
Yeah, I mean, you could just assign it and then they can determine whenever they have
Yeah,
time.
I would say leave it up to Walt to decide what he
They come back to
has
you in
time to
6 months
do,
if
and,
needed.
yeah, I'd leave it up to Walt, just say,
'Cause
here
I
you
thought
go.
he originally brought to the commission and to you as well, the accessory structure ordinance review, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't want them to use Macomb County water management. It's all I can
This,
say.
yeah, this one I think is,
Well, doesn't this boil down to just removing the exemptions?
that's it.
I think it's a pretty simple.
Yeah, this is.
The exemptions and the percent per, for zoning.
I mean,
So
I,
that means we're
you
deciding
can
what
leave
should
it.
and shouldn't go in this ordinance. I think you've gotta give the planning commission a chance to look
Right.
this
Could
over.
could
And
we
not
s-
just say, well, this is it, it's easy, yes or no.
No,
It's
I don't
something
think
we
so.
should
I
look
think-
at.
You're
We
not
all
asking,
agree we need to.
you're not
the
asking us to
water
approve it
shut off.
tonight, are you?
No, what I was saying is this is not, I think it's gonna boil down to two things. What's the exemptions? Edit the exemptions. What's the overall percentages per zoning district that's permissible? I don't think this is much more, right? I mean, those are the two things when the plan, but no, you're just referring it back to them and letting them review it, is my understanding, and we'll weigh in, and the planners can weigh in.
I just don't think we should put a time frame on it just yet. I
Fantastic.
think it should be after, I think the moratorium is that issue, urban planning is our top issue.
But I think we should put it in front of them, the planning commission, and let them, I mean, again, we said we don't
Form a
want to dictate.
subcommittee and talk about it.
Yeah, let them decide how he wants to handle it, and, you know, but,
Did this go in front of him
No.
today?
mm-mm.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I move that the city commission assign to the planning commission a formal review of sections 24-196 and 24-235 of the zoning ordinance, including related definitions for the purpose of evaluating the landscaped open space calculation provisions and determining whether amendments are warranted to clarify preservation of functional pervious open space and alignment with stormwater management objectives. This assignment is made pursuant to the city commission's adopted ordinance revision and creation process policy. The planning commission shall conduct its review consistent with applicable zoning amendment procedures, including at least one duly noticed public hearing, and shall return a written recommendation to the city commission, including draft ordinance language if amendments are recommended. The scope of this review will be limited to landscaped open space calculation provisions and related definitions unless the city commission provides further direction.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
I think it's important, Jamie, that you, attend the planning commission meeting when we're talking about this, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll weigh in, because the percents and the stormwater counts that go with it will be critical for understanding for people to get it.
Exactly, yes. Okay, next item on the agenda, the commission will consider the interlocal agreement with Oakland County for the P25 simulcast system.
We'll have the chief talk about it.
Okay. Chief, you're up. The interlocal agreement with Oakland County for the P25 simulcast system.
Good to see everyone again. This is a renewal of our radio system throughout Oakland County. Our prep, our in-car, our PSAP, our dispatch radio system. This is a renewal. The equipment recently was upgraded about 2 years ago. It was a very lengthy rollout because it had to be coordinated across all the PSAP centers, all the dispatch, all the portable radios, the PSAP centers, and the car radios all had to be installed. It was a bulk project throughout the county. The agreement has been reviewed by our legal team. There's the appropriate changes have been made, inserting the points of contact, the city manager to resolve any kind of legal or contractual issues. Any kind of operational issues would be, the point of contact would be myself or Captain Lockhart. And this is basically a renewal of something that was in existence and updated with the new equipment.
Can I ask what our future technology upgrade obligations are? Is this gonna be expensive going forward every time they wanna do an upgrade?
Typically, they do upgrades of equipment
Right.
every 5 to 7 years.
So what is the cost?
unknown at this point. It doesn't seem to get cheaper. Seems to
More
get
expensive,
more,
yeah.
and unfortunately, with a lot of things, technological advancements, they're going away from buy and maintain projects where we buy the equipment and then we do a service contract. They're going into subscription-based systems or subscription-based contracts.
Because I heard Bloomfield Township negotiated some kind of control in terms of those upgrades, or I couldn't get.
We were all part of it. This is a countywide Clemis
Great.
operation. It's
Great. And
it doesn't
isn't
have individuals.
Widely used, it's
Yep.
really great. Okay.
But we all, as chiefs, we all sat on the same board, we all sat, and now Clemis is an authority. They've changed over control of Clemis to a public-private authority. So there's some changes
That's
there
a
also.
board on there, yeah, that's interesting.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What permits and certificates, it says in section 10.8 that both parties have the obligation to maintain licenses, permits, certificates, and governmental authorizations necessary to perform our responsibilities. What permits are we required? When I looked at the earlier portion of the agreement, it said they were providing all the permits for the equipment and whatever it was. Do we have obligations?
I think that's just to support and work through them for the normal radio channels, all the frequencies in the radio channel, of the permits associated with that, ma'am. I
Are
know-
those permits that we have to get ourselves?
I've never gotten one,
We never
and
get any. That's what I
we've-
thought this section 10.8 was a little bit conflicting
Vague.
with the rest of the contract.
Yeah.
Because it made it seem as if it was a mutual obligation. Mark, did you see that?
I believe there is, some requirements for individuals that have access to certain, like Clemis, that we would be responsible for getting, them qualified for it. I thought that's what this was.
I think-
Do we have to pay for the training, is that what you're?
we always do. We've always paid for that training. It's never been considered a permit. It's been considered a certification. So you have to have annual certification on the radio system. And then the only other thing I could think of that they're referring to is like CGIS compliant. And that's it, because those radios are now encrypted. That's probably the greatest, in addition to their capabilities, they're encrypted now, so citizens can't listen in on active events.
But in other words, this is kind of like catch-all.
Catch-all,
Make
yes,
sure
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
everything's
There's,
covered, yeah.
I am not aware of any new permits. They might have been not the best language they put in there, but I think it should have probably been certifications.
It's in there, certification is
yeah.
part of that. Certificates.
Mark, so you're comfortable with
Yes.
that?
Any other questions? Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
Move that we approve the system. P25 simulcast system.
As
We approve
presented
the
in front of
agreement.
us?
And it also, you also have to say, and we authorize city manager David Hendrickson to execute this agreement on behalf of the city and deliver same to Oakland County. They asked for that.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's a good ad, yeah. Okay. Amy, did you get that? Yes, thank you. Okay. Okay, can I have a second?
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Guys in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, next item, the commission will consider a budget amendment for the 911 system.
Sandra or
Sandra,
Chief?
which one do you
Sandra?
guys want? Who's gonna do this one?
I can kick it off and then, Chief can answer any technical questions. But, our 911 system is also due for an upgrade. The last time it was upgraded there in 2012 and then 2017, and then I think there was a refresh in 2024. So now there's, a whole new upgrade that needs to be done. And so all 19 of the Oakland County Public Safety answering points, including Bloomfield Hills, participated in a countywide vendor selection process, and they chose the vendor Carbonite. So Carbonite gave the cost for the city of Bloomfield Hills, which is $145,687 over a 5-year period. They did offer a 10% discount if we paid it upfront.
So, tonight's, recommendation is to, take the offer of paying it up front, and therefore there would be a budget amendment with the funds coming from our fund balance.
What assurances do we have that Carbonet, is that how you say it? That they will be performing the contract for the 5-year? I mean, 5-year term is a pretty long term.
I agree.
What if they went out of business or they weren't performing well? Do we have any kind of recourse to Oakland County? I mean, I didn't see a contract here, so are we even a party to the contract?
I'm gonna let,
We are a party to the county, and correct me if I'm wrong, the county arranged this, and that's part of the Columbus system. We are a part of the Columbus system. They now have oversight over our radio, our PSAP, and our equipment that goes with it. Their corporate counsel drafted and handled the negotiations. Oakland County's corporate counsel did. And they informed us, but we weren't part of that process. It was through Oakland County and the new authority, to my recollection.
But to your point,
It's just that you're taking that risk if you pay
I
it all
agree.
up front and it's a 5-year term. I don't know if there's any, if Oakland County is holding us harmless.
would we get a refund if they went out of
I think
business?
garbage may be on our minds.
Oh, the garbage, okay,
Yeah.
all right. I was like, oh, yes, sir.
I mean, I guess that's my only concern about paying all of it up front as opposed to making installments and they're not performing, you can always just stop paying. But if you pay it all up front, then
I'd
you have to
second
worry
that
about
concern.
getting it back and finding some new source to provide it, so that's my concern.
I believe that would be Oakland County's responsibility since they did it. If this system went down, our entire communication system would not work. This is gonna tether together all of our communication system.
Move to approve.
Okay.
I have a couple descriptors to understand the technology. Sandra did a great job. That technology, the one thing in law enforcement, public safety that's aggressing very rapidly is the technology. This tethers together our text 911, rapid SOS, live video feed. This is preparing for the next generation of 911 services, where it was before it was calling, now texting, now it's live video feeds. It also has automatic language translation services, where if the person is speaking in, our dispatchers have the ability to translate immediately, and then the relocation in regards to supporting other dispatch centers, PSAP centers, or any kind of emergency at the building. It builds in redundancy and seamless transition, where we can literally dispatch from a laptop computer.
Thanks for that. I was kind of wondering what those improvements that, for 145,000 were gonna be.
Right.
And that's, when we were all individual PSAP centers in the past, there was some benefit that you weren't kind of committed to a county-wide program. But once we went to the county-wide program, which is off the statewide program, you give up a lot of local control over things like that.
Yeah.
The quality of service and the danger of litigation, this is a much better system.
Cost benefit analysis is what it is. And this is another good advancement. But if someone was to ask me what it would cost in 5 years, I couldn't tell you. I mean, yeah. When we put the P25 radio system in place, there was already 4 versions newer than when it went into place. So that's how quick the technology goes. And I think that was like $55 million across the county. I think it's a huge project.
Do you know if any of the others are paying upfront?
I'm sorry, I do not know what the number 18 are doing.
I do know at the last Oakland Chiefs meeting, everyone was pushing for that. I can't give you a number. I could get that number if you want.
No, that's all right.
But there was a lot of departments were trying to benefit from I think it was 10%. 10% they were trying to benefit from.
Well, I think if we have the money, we have the money, right, Sandra?
Yes.
And this isn't
From the
something
fund
that,
balance.
yeah,
Yes.
unless you want the entire police of Oakland County to go down, I don't think it'll go down. It might.
And they'll upgrade it even though it's prepaid. they'll keep it upgraded.
Yeah, all the system upgrades and the updates with it come
Are
with
included.
the 5-year package.
You need a motion?
Yeah, I'm okay with the upfront payment.
Move to
Brad?
approve.
I am too, yeah.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. The commission will consider a resolution to oppose state legislation to amend land regulations in the state.
This is a proposed resolution, for you to consider. Been tracking several pieces of legislation that have been proposed at the House. Would have dramatic impact upon land division issues as well as land use issues, curtailing local control that would have a pretty adverse impact upon the city. The proposed resolution would just be delivered to the House, objecting to and urging them not to proceed with this legislation. I have learned in some conversations the township supervisor had with one of the legislatures that the proposed legislation is not necessarily, they're not necessarily interested in passing it, but they're looking for proposals to be submitted as options to increase affordability for housing. To the extent that's the objective, I can't think of any recommendations the city would be willing to make especially along these lines. You know, their proposals are limits on how small small properties can be made, limits on what types of residences are going to be considered acceptable in a residential neighborhood, to the extent, you know, mobile homes, things like that. I don't think there's any basis even for a discussion on some of this proposed legislation, to the extent that's actually what this legislation's about.
This, Mark, this doesn't have anything to do with the electric systems or anything like that.
I don't believe there's any correlation there, and frankly, I think a lot of that type of issue is.
Oh, you mean like the data centers, all the cities rejecting the data centers?
I don't see.
It's a lot to do with affordable housing, I think you're right, there's a lot of cities fighting.
In her
State.
State of the State address a couple of weeks ago, Governor Whitmer endorsed this. She got a standing ovation in the whole, and it is a bipartisan state. You know, that's what concerns me, it's bipartisan litigation, legislation.
Yes.
Well, it basically forces a city that to take a $2 million property value and forces them to make it an affordable home.
Yeah, no, it's
You know,
terrible.
where the rents are, you know, $300 a month, that wouldn't support a mortgage or building that, but so it's something we do need to.
Move to approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Good, the commission will hear city manager comments. Dave, do you have any?
Just a couple quick ones. I'm gonna be going out of town, starting tomorrow, and so, I'm gonna be going overseas, so it might be a little difficult to get a hold of. But, Amy's gonna be taking the helm, and, I'll be gone for a couple of weeks, but I'll be checking in with her, and, I'm sure you guys will be in good hands, as you always are with her, so.
All right. Thanks. Where are you going?
Also wanted to mention, I've had a thought about, we still are required to do training every year. It's actually a city commission, policy. So I thought about what we could do this year that maybe be not painful and maybe, you know, just a way to do it. And I thought about creating a video and with take the kind of personalities out of it, take the facts of just the governing documents, including the charter and the ordinances and all that, and have a third-party voice, not person on the video, just a third-party voice do it, maybe have graphics and whatever on the video, create this video, and then give it to all boards, commissions, administration. Everybody can review it. If we have new people that come aboard, they can review it. We can put it online. It's sort of a vision. I thought that it would work. It kind of takes all the, you know, having someone, sometimes having somebody stand up and presenting it just causes more, you know, trouble than it's worth. So I thought this could be a good way to do it, and just wanted to see what the commission thought.
How expensive would that be to get that production going?
I don't know, but I do have a friend that can do it, and so I'm gonna try to see if I can get a lot of it for free, to be honest with you. But
Could we look at proposals before we go on?
like a
The cost?
Yeah, cost, absolutely. I can, yeah, I'll find out the cost, and
I just figured Laura and Sue would tell me that I did something wrong, and I know.
yeah, right. So it's, I think it'd be
I
helpful.
learned
to
early.
It's yeah, it's just one of these things in life that all of us have to go through training, and it's a good thing that it's established, and then you can look at it to remind yourself about things, and so.
And new people
And new
coming
people.
onto the different
Yeah,
boards,
it's
they
a lot.
they have it to learn
It's a lot
when they
easier
start.
to disseminate training. I mean,
Yes. I wanted to run the concept by you. If you thought, I think this is probably a good way to do it, and you can memorialize it, put it on the website, and you can just look at it. So, but yeah, certainly I'll find a cost, and
It's a
before I
very
take
common.
any action, I would.
It's a very common practice in the business world. It's just a neutral person. You're watching the video. It's, you know.
Certainly we do it right, and certainly have our city attorney look at every fine point, make sure it's all, so.
But it would be a production, so I think before we just say yes, I think I'd like to see what it would cost.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was it.
Okay, the commission will consider other business. No way? Okay. Are we staying here for the budget meeting, or what are we doing?
We usually move over.
We usually move it in
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
So do I have to have a motion here? Mark?
Are you intending to come back into open session, or is this gonna be a closed session?
It's not closed
It's
session,
open.
but
Okay.
it's not
So
closed.
no,
No.
you don't
right.
need a motion, you're still gonna remain in open session, so.
Okay, yeah. If anybody wants to sit through a budget meeting,
You're welcome to do that.
you're welcome to do that. Okay, so we'll, thank you to everybody. We'll adjourn, and the commission, along with the city,
We're not adjourned.
we're not adjourning. We're not adjourning, I'm sorry. We're not gonna adjourn, we're just moving, okay? Oh, yeah, I didn't see that on the agenda. Yeah, yeah.
What was that? I missed that. I'm
The
sorry.
conversation about the roundabout.
Oh, correct. So sorry, we didn't address that sooner.
What do we,
I mean, there's other business that, you can, if any discussion about, the roundabout, if I may?
yes, please.
If I may, there was a study done by Oakland County, and the commission is reviewing that, and it's gonna take some time for them to take a look at it and review it. But certainly there would have to be collaboration with the county and with the township and with us, and you know, they've come up with that study and some pros and cons of maybe 3 different scenarios that they think of, and I think the commission has not had the time to take a look at it. They want to review it, probably ask questions of our own engineers and our public safety department, and so at some point, you know, and the commission may ask for Oakland County to attend maybe the April meeting to ask questions. So
Can you share I thought it was interesting, there were some ideas thrown out. There was the roundabout, there was a left-hand turn signal, there was no turn on red, one of them? I can't remember, but can you share what was,
Well, I mean,
just so they have some information?
certainly, I mean, I think there's a couple primary ways you can do it, and one is a roundabout, but another one is just restructuring the lights and how the lights work, essentially. So with 2 main things, there's sort of 2 different ways to do the lights than what you're talking about. But that's essentially what it is, and there's pros and cons to each, and I don't want to speak to the report, I think maybe the commission might wanna.
They've done this, the light one that they're talking about, you obviously drive the yard. So, an example of that would be Lasser and Corton Road.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so next time you go through that, they just recently, probably 2 months ago.
That really helps there. I used to live near there.
Yeah, that intersection, awful.
Yeah.
I mean, terrible, and even the flow of traffic and everything. And they put these new lights up there for the left-hand turns, timing on the road, on each of the, Corton and
I think
Lasser.
that helps
By the
tremendously.
day, it is like night and day difference.
So for me and Jacqueline and the 10 other parents that we've talked about, we are anti-roundabout and would love something like that.
That's what I wanted to hear is what
Lasser
you're-
and,
Yeah, yeah.
Long Lake and Lasser, similar, Corton and
Yeah.
Lasser,
It's like-
that's fine.
Yeah,
We just don't have that.
Please-
intersection
Yeah,
is like that.
please recall that,
Yeah.
my son lives in Hickory, about 200 yards west of Lasser, so, if you take a look at that fence in front of our house, it's bent, because people have been seriously injured at our house. Someone died in a car accident, at least one person died in a car accident last year. And
So sad.
And the reality is that when they misdesigned Square Lake Road and Telegraph, they made Hickory into a bypass road, and it's a real problem. But I don't know if there can be a roundabout. There's going to be a public hearing, and you really gotta get your voices heard.
Sure.
All of
Please,
us,
please.
we're gonna be there too. They're gonna have they're gonna have to have a public hearing at some point. They have to have some type of public meeting, am I right?
And
Yeah,
it's part of your study too, correct?
Well, I think what the process is, so I met with Oakland County about a month ago. I said, well, can you put your study on paper? So at least the city commission can start to think about it. And then at some point, the Oakland County can come and explain it. And then there have to be some discussions with the other two partners. And then once that's kind of figured out, then you'd have to have some public meetings on it.
And
To
we
get
would-
all the
we
input
could-
from
So they wanna know how they can learn when
Yeah.
those public hearings
I
are.
can let you know. I can keep
We've got
you informed.
like
It may be
15
some.
parents that are on an email list that are ready to.
It's
This
not
is-
enough
Okay, thank you.
parents.
This
You gotta
is-
get more.
Could
This
you
is not
share
a
your
happen
info
fast.
with Amy so that we have that contact?
The other
It
thing-
seems like a big change for a problem that can be solved, that's how you're describing with the Corton and Lasser.
Yeah.
I think that the roundabout, there's a myriad of other problems. One of them is the water over there has gotten really rough the last 10 years.
Yeah.
There was no flooding 10 years ago.
That's true.
This is now happening 6 days a year. Yeah, and I'm not even sure you can build a roundabout there anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that's a good solution anyway.
I'm sorry, I failed to, Amy, do you have his contact?
I will get it.
Can we make sure we get it? I'm sorry, I should have done that earlier with you guys. So please get to contact, make sure you let everybody know about it.
And can I ask what your comment was in the back regarding this?
Oh, no, he went to it, I was gonna ask if there were other options other than the roundabout, because since we were.
We would hope so.
Yes.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
never stop the flow of traffic. That would be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for like 4 years, this is the most attention we've gotten to the situation, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for
You're
coming.
welcome.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank
we're
you.
all very invested in this. Yeah, very
Two of us live
invested.
there too, so.
And I drive it all the time. All right, so Whitmo, thank you again. Okay,
Thank you for coming in.
everybody. Yep.
And thanks for doing the study too.
How are you?